Hello and welcome to a new episode of This is a Revolution, your mostly weekly RevPro podcast, hosted here by George and Dave. Dave, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. I had to get that mostly in there because obviously we had a week off last week. I was just a little bit under the weather, so I would have been coughing and spluttering, and we would have had one of two things, mate. I'd have been either coughing and spluttering, or I'd have been constantly muting my mic, and I would just end up speaking, and it wouldn't record what I was saying. Some would say not the end of the world, but yeah, that is why we weren't here last week. So
it worked for me as well, mate. It worked for me because my missus wasn't well as well. So I was everything last week. I was parenting, mate, and adulting, which I don't normally do. You know, making the kids their breakfasts and their dinners and stuff like this. This is the stuff that normally the missus does for me, and I just disappear off to work and come back again. And
this must be one of those regional things with accents, because I've never heard anyone refer to it as adulting as opposed to adulting, but it very much sounded like you were saying adultering, and I was like, oh my god, the missus.
I weren't that exciting, mate. It weren't that exciting.
The missus is also Dave's out being a philanderer.
If anything about what I do in terms of wrestling tells you anything, I'm a very loyal person.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm loyal to Rev Pro. I'm loyal to West Ham, no matter how much it kills me, and I'm loyal to my missus.
Yeah, it's really funny. So I have a team at work of 3 women, and I think one of them knows of my wrestling fandom, but it's one of those things I haven't told anyone in the company I work at yet. Even though I've been there a couple of years, I wait till I've got a level of respect for what I do, and then I break this out because I don't want people going, "Oh, he's just a wrestling guy." And one of my team, she's very funny. She's Malaysian Chinese, very direct woman, and she'll say to me, she goes, "You go to London all the time," and she's like, "You go to London this week?" And one day we were in a team meeting. She went, "Have you got a mistress?" And I was like, "No." She was like,
Rev Pro is your mistress.
Yeah, you are always going to London. What is there in London that you're always going to London for? So I told her, I was like, I'm a wrestling fan. There are lots of shows there. I go all the time. So now she knows, but she still calls me out in meetings. She's going, you want to see your mistress again, are you? I'm like, yes, I'm going to see my mistress.
Yeah. Just embrace it, mate.
She knows no boundaries, mate. Some of the questions that I've been asked, a lot surrounding my new mattress. No boundaries.
Does she need some workplace training?
Mate,
appropriate behaviour in the office.
Luckily this is all done via Teams calls, and bless her, we have a good relationship in my team. Like we do have a laugh and joke, and sometimes I need to say, right, we've reached the line for today. Let's not cross it any further, and it gets dialed back a little bit.
I love that. I love that. Also, whereas my I don't think it could be more obvious about wrestling in my school. Yeah. I wear a Will Ospreay blacksmith jacket to work. I've got my Rev Pro cup on my desk. Every training day and non-uniform day, I wear a Rev Pro shirt. We've got one of our 6th formers in the Rev Pro contenders division. We've got the kids walking down the corridors singing Phoebe predictions. My favourite one is so like senior leaders we have one available for every period of the day, and you pick up the iPad, and basically anything that goes on in any lesson, teacher just emails this to say, can I have support in room 316 with little Johnny? And we appear and we sort it out. So sometimes it's like big deals, like can't locate a child, and it turns out that they're having an asthma attack or something like that. But more often than not, 99 times out of 100, it's a kid's pushed it a little bit far and just needs to be reined back in. So I had one last week, and I turned up to this geography lesson, and this lad's come out, and I'm like, mate, why? Like, you're way better than this. Why have you had to be given like your second chance of the 3 that you get each lesson? And he was like, sir, please don't laugh or tell me off. I'm like, okay. He said, Mr. Williams said that we're we're going to do some predictions. And I just instinctively went, Phoebe predictions. And I was literally just like pissing myself, like, how the fuck do I tell you off now? Like, you're getting told off for embracing my stupid content that I do with my daughter on TikTok. But yeah, it proper made us both laugh. And I sent him back in and was like, "Sir, don't worry. I predict he will be very well behaved for the rest of this lesson."
Mate, I love that. I also love that of all the room numbers, it was room 316 that you just said.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I didn't think you did, mate. I just love how the symmetry of wrestling carries on that. Also, the symmetry. It is really weird, Dave, that despite us being in the same room, I'm sitting looking at you on a screen. So
Yes, mate. Yes,
I'll just wave to you from over. Okay.
Well, because of the Andy Quilden money, I live in a mansion. So I'm out of the podcasting room and I'm in the gaming room today. AKA the dining room's being decorated. So I'm in Isaac's room, hence the brain rots up here and this sofa slash bunk bed little malarkey we've got going on. But yeah, matching blue walls, bro.
Love it. And yeah, I think, look, we all, if anyone is thinking, Dave lives in the mansion, trust me. When I went back to the Midlands and I saw fucking house prices, my God, it made me go, why did my parents decide to move down south? I don't get I don't get it. When I went back to Corby and I saw like houses in the posh area of where I was like, oh
Yeah,
my God,
yeah,
that's like aspirational, that area.
mate, it's
Honest to
nuts.
God. Yeah,
Like where we are, we've got we've got a higher price range because we're closer to Bedford, and Bedford's got the train station.
of course, yeah.
And I'm sure we get silly little rubs like Hugh Laurie and Matt Berry living in the village and shit like that. But if we literally move to like the nearest town, which is what, like 5 miles up the road, and we cross over out of Bedfordshire into Northamptonshire, the value for money you get is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I can imagine.
we're in a 3 bed, 2 bathroom, no garage, no driveway. Like technically, I think we're end of terrace because there's four key workers' homes on like a little new build estate that's not new build anymore because it's like 20 years old. Um, but if we sold this, we could get like 5 bed, double garage, driveway. If we went to somewhere like a Rushton or a Corby or somewhere like that, and it's just I don't know. I've always quite liked being the the poorest person in the nicest area.
Yeah,
Like I love
I'm
the
the same.
fact that in the summer, like when it's really hot, we sleep downstairs in the conservatory. We just turn it into a bedroom. We just sleep with the doors open all night. Like
Yeah, yeah.
so you
I,
like and like, I say that to people and they're like, "Are you not worried that somebody could just come into your house?" And I'm like, that thought has never crossed my mind.
Yeah, mate,
But
it's really funny. I mean, to be fair, the problem is like you could move to Corby and you could have all that, but you'd live in Corby, which is still a shithole. Somehow is
I've never been. I've
somehow
never been.
even better than when I lived there. To take it back to wrestling as well, there's so where I lived, it was like 5 minutes away. So you have it's very Scottish Irish there, or was when I was growing up, and you had two social clubs next door to each other. One was called the Irish Centre, and one was called the Grampian, Scottish and Irish. And I found out that WrestleForce go to the Grampian club. So like Nathan Angel, who's recently signed with WWE, and who I've seen
Yeah,
the one around the corner from me, has also wrestled in the little club that I used to go like with my
yeah.
granddad to. Like we like when I was 12 or 13, we'd go around there and he'd have a few beers and whatnot. But I'm just looking at the
Love that.
prices, looking at the prices of it, right? So I found, and this is reduced. I'm going to show you this, Dave, right? I don't know how I'm going to do this. I know we're going way off tangent here, but this house, mate, right? When I talked about like what I could get for my money back then, you know what? I can't find what I need to show you, but basically, it looks like something out of fucking Emmerdale, mate. Like it's a double
Yeah.
garage situation going on, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, fully detached, 495 grand. That is cheaper than the two bedroom, middle terrace house that I live in. It is,
Yeah. Nuts,
yeah.
mate, and it's nuts.
But yeah, like I said, the problem is I'd have to go and move back there, which that's just
Be closer to me. It'd be nice.
that would be lovely, mate. The problem is I'd be closer to the rest of my family. Oh,
Hello.
Dave's had a knockdown. Yeah, I'd be closer to the rest of my family. That would be the bit that would be shit.
Oh no, mate. Oh
Yeah,
no.
that
That'd
is
be
the
mad.
benefit of moving away. Right. Anyway, Dave, I didn't get to go to FantasticaMania, mate. Right. So what we're going to do today, obviously, we've got about 45, 50 minutes. Because last time we imposed nearly 2 hours on people. So we'll try and
I
rein
don't
it
know how
back a
we
bit.
did that.
Yeah,
That flew by.
I don't either,
I
mate.
bet it bloody
Especially
didn't fly by to listen to, but it
yeah,
flew by for us chatting.
especially since we introduced some structure to try and stop that from happening, and we still fucking did. However, I didn't get to go to Fantasticamania, so in 5 minutes, I saw the first show. Tell me what you thought of the two shows combined.
I love FantasticaMania. It feels like it's a bit like RevPro canon kind of gets paused for a week,
Hmm.
and we just have this celebration of wrestling. It's different to any of the other shows that they do because at the end of it, all the heels and faces come out together and do this big like celebration in the ring, and it feels really grandiose.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, like storylines still continue. We got JJ Gow and David Francisco stuff and things like that, and you know, no one breaks character, but they're just such a nice thing to be a part of, and they have this way of putting CMLL stars across like they're like just fucking mega stars.
Hmm.
And then you get to see Rev Pro wrestlers in like this different light because when you see Oku and Mystico and you see them together and you're like, do you know what, Oku, everything about him from his entrance to his wrestling to the way he's just presented and thought of in British wrestling, he is like a Mystico of BritWres. You know, like the way he's revered. And when you see people like JJ Gow wrestle Titan, and
Hmm.
you're like, Titan's like, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling's Titan, CMLL Titan, and you're like, JJ's absolutely on his level. You're like, we are really, really blessed.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed it, mate. I did stand-in ticket for both shows, which I was like a bit dubious about.
I can
I thought
imagine.
I'd give it a go because you never know, right? It could be a disaster or it could be class. I loved it, mate. I had one spot for the first show, same spot that I took for Summer Sizzler. And then for the second show, I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go and stand in front of the merch table and watch it like on the hard cam.
Hmm.
And you know, I'm a 38-year-old overweight fella, so I'm gonna find standing up for really long periods of time more difficult than a 20-year-old who's in shape. But like it flew by, mate. I didn't feel like it at all. I thought the shows were really well paced. Um, I think that on paper the second show looked stronger than the first one, but I feel like they were actually really evenly balanced because I think the first show had some matches that were like real sleeper hits,
Hmm.
and then the second show, the matches that you had high expectations for delivered really highly.
Nice.
So whether you went to one, whether you went to both, whether you did the afternoon or the evening, it was really really good. And in between, I discovered the best like curry house
Oh,
in
you did,
Wolverhampton.
did you?
Mate, it was so good. I'd googled it. But basically, I this is my key to finding free parking everywhere. By the way, Google where you want to go, click on Street View, and just bloody go for a walk. Go for a walk around where you want to go to and read the parking signs. Like it's like a half an hour job.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of free time. I'm a teacher. Like you've got a lot of time to spend doing it. But if you're going to go back to the same venue again and again and again and again, you're going to save yourself a fortune in parking. And as I was walking around, I found this place called the Desi Yew Tree. obviously, so did loads of wrestling fans because it was banged out. But what I liked was it was banged out by non-wrestling fans as well.
Oh yeah.
And they were not phased in the slightest. The 4 o'clock they were full. Like they were just like, "Yep, we can fit you in. It'll be that table over there, but I need you gone in an hour and a half. Is that okay?" If you just heard a loud noise, that's the cat coming in through the window and knocking one of
Nice.
Isaac's bottles down. Cheers, bud. Bloody, they use the windows like cat flaps in our house.
Oh god.
But mate, yeah, the food was absolutely cracking, and that was really nice because it was like I've gone and watched a 2.5 hour wrestling show.
Yeah.
I've now had a full sit down meal, and now I'm ready to go back and watch more.
Nice.
If you want to just pick and choose the matches to watch Ridgeway versus Hechicero.
I did enjoy that.
The trios match from the first show with Caven, True and Lacey, Oku, Mystico, and Mascara Dorada.
Mm-hmm.
And JJ Gal versus T-Town from the first show. Then for you on the second one, where you've not seen it, obviously watch Mystico versus T-Town. Watch the all CMLL contest between Hechicero and I'm not quite sure how we say the fella's name now that we're beyond it being announced. Is it Gelois?
Oh yes,
XEL
Gelois. Yeah, because we were trying to work out how to say this one at home. He was great. Him and Mills were fucking great. I'm just gonna say this.
Yeah,
they had a fantastic match. I'm not sure how it came across watching it live. That was intricate as fuck.
And it was like 10 minutes long, right?
Yeah, it was
so
so
you
good.
had this really, and I'm such a big fan of these. This match is not meant to be the star attraction, so we're going to show you some really cool stuff, and we're going to keep some stuff back for another day, because, and that's what for me, that's what it kind of should always be like. Like I'm very old school in my wrestling views. The opening match should not be the highlight of the night. It should be building up to the main event. And like that second show, mate, you have to watch Mystico versus Oku because you have to see Mystico's entrance. It was worth the entry alone, and I will remember it forever.
Fine.
So he came out to his traditional CMLL theme, which is a like a popular song in Mexico. And the fans fucking knew the song and sang it back to him the entire time. And when the music stopped, there were about half a dozen Spanish-speaking fans who sang it in Spanish, just like as an encore.
Wow.
They stood up and looked at each other and sang it, and the rest of the crowd just stared. And then when they finished, gave them this huge ovation. Oku and Mystico in the ring were just watching them like, this is really fucking cool. And it was so special. Like, like when you see Minoru Suzuki for the first time and you see Kaze Ninore, it was like that, only you didn't know you were going to get it.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
Really, really, really class, mate. Really enjoyed it.
Nice. I'll give that a watch. I did like how in the first show, Mystico just became the Undertaker for a brief few seconds.
Yeah.
I love that.
That gong, you're like...
It's amazing how we're so conditioned in wrestling to hearing certain sounds and just triggered, right? Isn't it? It shows the beauty of what good sounds and can do in wrestling.
What I love about that first one with Mystico, and I don't know if they did this on purpose. I don't know if Mystico was putting him over, or if that's just how far Mascara Dorada's come since we first saw him in 2023. But Mascara Dorada was like the star of that match. Like he was on a level with Mystico, not just in ring, but in terms of how he was presented. And you're watching it just like, you guys have grown, and you've grown like the next face of the company.
Yeah. Have you seen his match in AEW with Takeshita and Okada?
No.
I would say go out of your way to watch that. That was at Wrestle Dream is the one that's just happened. I can't remember the name of the one before it, but it was the pay-per-view last month. Mate, go out of your way to watch it. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
mate.
just. Yeah,
I don't think
five
there's a
star
wrestler in the
ratings.
world that I enjoy watching more in terms of like TV wrestling than Takeshita.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, that sounds tasty.
yeah. What you were saying there just reminded me. So Kaze Ninare. I've Minoru Suzuki is one of those people that I've known of over the years, but I've just never watched a lot of at one point. So I remember when he came into AEW, and there was a whole debacle because they cut off before the
Yeah, yeah,
drop,
yeah.
and at the time I didn't understand. I was like, "What's the fucking deal with it? Like, come on, it's just
I
right."
remember watching it and just being like, oh my god, they've shit the bed there.
So
Like
yeah,
that's disrespect.
I remember at one point on yeah,
Unintentional disrespect, but that's going to be the narrative, you know?
yeah, and I remember like being online, just being like, I don't understand what the fuck everyone's problem is, right? Because I just didn't get it, right? And then
Yeah,
they did it a couple of times afterwards. I was like, okay, this is quite cool. I can see it, and people love to sing it. Then I think it was a month or two after that he was announced for Portsmouth Rev Pro, and I was like,
yeah.
buying a ticket for that. Like, I'm going to see
Was
this
that
live.
him and
Main event,
Kurt versus Lucian and Yosuji?
that's the one, mate. Yeah, main event.
Yeah, two
Um,
2 years ago on Saturday, I think it was, because I just did a This Week in Rev Pro for it.
yeah, it might well have been. All I remember was it was at least slightly over 2 years ago, and it was a Tuesday night or a Thursday night. They're the
Yeah.
two things that I remember because
God,
I remember it being a
yeah.
work. It was a work night, and that's how I remember.
Fuck, Rev Pro used to run weeknights.
Yeah, because it was a weeknight because I was working, and I remember I had shit that I needed to finish before I went off on holiday, and I had like this case where one of my team just wasn't doing what they needed to be doing, so I had to do a bit of an investigation. This is in an old job, and I was like, and I hadn't finished it by the end of the day, so I literally finished up, drove to Portsmouth, went and watched Red Pro, and come back to do this when I got back home.
Oh man.
That's the only reason I remember it was a Tuesday night or a Thursday night,
Yeah.
like a
Because I used
weekday
to
night.
watch
Yeah,
everything. I used to watch everything on demand that wasn't like within my much smaller circumference that I used to drive for Rev Pro. So yeah, like Cardiff on a Friday night and Portsmouth on a Tuesday night were
yeah,
just no different to watching Sheffield on a Sunday afternoon.
yeah. And I remember they did meet and greets with Leo Rush because I think he had a match with JJ Gale, or he was either
Him and Mills
JJ
it
Gale
was.
or Mills. That was it. I knew it was
Yeah.
one of them. And then they had a meet and greet with Suzuki, and I remember going over going, how much is the meet and greet? And they went £15. I was like, oh, is it £15 for both of them? Meaning combined. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, this is tasty. I'm going to get a bit of this. And I was like, yeah, so meet and greets. And they were like, both. I'm like, yeah. And they went £30. I'm like, oh, I see what's happened here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fucking, it was great value for money. I just thought I was getting something
I was going
half
to
the
say
price
that
of what.
that would be 30 quid each in 2025, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it was great value for money, and look, I'm not complaining at the price of it. I just thought I was getting something for half of the price I was because I didn't clarify as clearly as I should. Um, that
I
sounds
got a
like
very
yeah,
cool like little Leo Rush meet and greet at FantasticaMania simply because I went to buy one of his shirts, but like there was nobody around, so we were just having a chat while I bought his
yeah.
shirt. Um, and the dude is like I've met him a few times. Just so fucking cool and humble
He is
and
lovely.
just way nicer than he needs to be given his standing in wrestling. Like Wakes makes way more effort with fans than he needs
Yeah,
to get the money from them. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like if he was there just shilling away to get his merch money, which 100% wrestlers should be doing.
100%. Yeah,
Like you don't need to be that lovely,
yeah,
but he always is. It always takes me aback. I think that's probably the third or fourth time I think I've met him. But yeah, top guy,
yeah.
and hopefully we're going to see lots more of him over the next couple of months, right? Because
Oh,
he's
hopefully,
in the
mate.
UK
Yeah,
until January.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really hopeful that we do get to see more of him. I love the guy. He's so good. I've seen him in a variety of different promotions over the years, and every chance I've had to meet him, he's always been wonderful with me as well. Like it's funny every time I get a picture of him, the wife says, "It looks like you two are a tag team." I'm like, it's probably because I'm a bit of a short ass as well. That's what it is. Um, so Dave, Leon,
Yeah,
that was a good show, wasn't it?
mate, that was comfortably the best Rev Pro show that they've done on European soil that I've seen.
Yeah, you know
Um,
what I'm kind of liking the two, mate, right? So you said earlier about FantasticaMania, where it's very much like out of Rev Pro canon. I kind of going to put into kind of how I'm going back with references that the more I do this, the less and less of our fan base will actually have lived through this. That's and that fan base, listener base. Fuck, I sound wanky there. But like they won't know from actually living through it time. But Fantastica was like for me when WWE used to do Insurrection, right? They would
yeah,
go and
yeah,
do, for all intents and purposes, it was a house show that wasn't really in canon, but might have a few things that are currently going on screen, and maybe one thing, two things most would impact the ongoing narrative, i.e., JJ Gale, David Francisco. This one to me, when I say this one, Lyon, very much felt like the B level pay per views that WWE would do.
yeah, yeah,
So they're not one of the
100%.
bigger ones. You're going to have some wrestlers who maybe on a bigger show wouldn't be there in terms of, and in this case, it would be the people who we're not as familiar with from the French scene. Um, and you had a match for the main event where you got the title was probably not going to change, but it could change because you used to get those competitors in WWE where it'd be your Jerichos, your Redacteds, your Canes, those sort of people
Yeah,
who maybe weren't the main event, but they were getting a shot at that event. And if they were to win, wouldn't be unexpected necessarily, but you kind of didn't
yeah,
expect it. That's where I felt this show landed for me. And I mean that in a good way.
yeah. I agree, mate, as well. And I think Andy Quildan's kind of got a. I think he likes to play with tropes and lean into them at times, and then break them just to show that anything can happen. Like Zazaya beating Michael Oku at the first Barcelona show that nobody would have had him down to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your top guy, your champion, losing to the local kid. Although it's a great story to do, it's not generally what the bigger company does when they go and work with the smaller company.
Yeah.
Generally, it's we're putting our guys over, and you're going to be like, your guys are going to get the rub from working our guys. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's and I mean that in the greatest of respects to at that time Lucha Libre Barcelona, because when it's New Japan coming over and working with Rev Pro, the New Japan guys generally go over. Like it's everyone's got their place in the pecking order. I think when GWF and Rev Pro work together, it's quite fun and it's cool, but it's very much like they're very separate.
Mm-hmm.
GWF matches, Rev Pro matches, especially this year.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, the Barcelona shows are we had the we still haven't seen the Trios Grand Prix. I'm told we're going to see that. That's finally coming on demand this week. But that's a really interesting learning curve, because I know that this week's not only was it filmed live on RevPro on demand, but it was filmed by RevPro.
Mm.
So that was RevPro production in another country, which is now the precedent for moving forwards when they go to other countries, so they can
Yeah.
film it themselves and they don't have to rely on the other company, which I think is a lesson learned from Barcelona. But them not being on demand makes them feel like they're not essential.
Yeah.
I remember the first Barcelona show this year. I didn't watch it for like a few weeks after. Obviously, the Trios Grand Prix, we're not watching it until weeks after. But yesterday, like that was appointment viewing. Like we went swimming yesterday morning with the kids, and I said to the missus, I was like, "Don't mind what time we go swimming, but we have to be back by 1 o'clock, so that at 2 o'clock everyone's fed and happy and ready to watch the wrestling."
Yeah.
Like, and we did, and it was class. Like we loved it, and the show was such a massive over delivery for me.
Yeah.
Like
Same, mate. Same.
genuinely, like I think that obviously, when we talk at the end of the year about shows of the year, we're going to talk about Rev Pro 13. We're going to talk about Global Wars. We might talk about High Stakes. We might talk about Summer Sizzler. These are the shows that, if they're not talked about at the end of the year, then that means that show under-delivered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody would expect Live in Lyon to be discussed as a show of the year, but I think it will be one of those honourable mentions where it's like, if we considered it, a live-in show, in inverted commas, it is one of the best ones that we've had this year, because Trent Seven and Luke Jacobs went into my top 10 matches of the year, and then immediately came back out because Sha and Jay took its place. So you got two matches which, in my eyes, are in the top 11 matches of this year on one card. And then you're like, okay, so take those two matches out. What did the other 5 deliver? I thought Kuro versus Lyon Cage was really, really good. Like, somewhere between good and great. It was like very good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the Kuro versus Alan Angels match was an over delivery. Bearing in mind the last time we had we need to kind of step in and do something different. We had Mascara Dorada versus Gota Tsuji, which just didn't really work for Global Wars last year. So when you're like, okay, these guys are having to, this wasn't the plan, they really, really bloody delivered. I thought the opener was an over delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't expecting Nino Bryant and Kyle Hoxton to be that interesting and that good.
No, same. I liked Kyle
And
Hoxton.
then what you're left with is Nina Samuels versus JGU, which I thought JGU looked, out of everybody that was on the show yesterday, she's the one that I want to see in Rev Pro again the most. And it made Nina Samuels look class, and it built really nicely for her match with Sapphire Reed this Sunday.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Vinnie Wells and Sabri J versus CPF, which probably got the hardest job of the night, because you're like, right, we've got three effectively people in the match. You've got CPF as a unit, and then you've got Sabri J who's trying to get over, and you've got Vinnie Wells who's trying to get over and trying to make an impression. Plus, you're going to put in the Kyle Hoxton interference and the Nino Bryant save and storyline stuff. But there was loads in there which made it, although maybe the takeaway wasn't Vinny and Sabrajay getting the most shine, I'm coming away thinking, oh, okay, what's happening with CPF and Nino Bryant? Are we gonna have CPF and the Bryant brothers trios? Is Danny Black gonna go after the Cruiserweight Championship before Lyon Cage? Is what's occurring here? So I always use it as a measuring stick. 7-match card. I wrote 10 takeaways, and I was having to put takeaways together. Some weeks I'm having to stretch them out. Like, how am I going to get 10 things out of 7 matches?
Yeah.
And then some shows I'm like, how am I going to squeeze these 12 things into 10 takeaways?
Yeah.
And that's what this show was.
Yeah.
Over delivery, I think, is my word to surmise it.
Yeah. You know what I really loved as well, what I think played a massive part to this as well, mate. We talked about it as being one of the best live-in shows, and I would agree with you. I think
I know exactly what you're going to say. It
two things for me. One, the venue. I thought the venue was fantastic.
was like the cockpit, wasn't it?
I don't, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the cockpit was like. I've never been.
I never got
seen
to go
shows.
to the cockpit, but I've seen all the cockpit shows on demand, and the
Okay.
way that they have the crowd. So they had tiered. Did you notice how they had tiered seating?
Yeah.
Even though it was only like 3 rows of seats.
Yeah.
That's what the cockpit was like.
Okay.
And it means, and the gap between the ring and the crowd was ridiculously tight.
Mm-hmm.
And it just meant that the crowd is like on top of the wrestling.
It's kind of what we get, around our
it's
local
such
one.
an intimate venue, and obviously that makes it really, really limited in the sense that they couldn't fit many more people in there. But
it added so much.
If you're gonna sell that number of tickets, bang out a little place like that, and the atmosphere in there was wicked, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was what I loved. The crowd. So I was texting back and forth with Marty, and we were like talking about the crowd. We're like, I think I posted about this yesterday, and I'm guilty of this, right? That sometimes when I'm at the shows, I'll get a bit too much into the cheering and chanting. And we've said on here before that sometimes the crowd doesn't know when to stop, let it breathe a little bit. And look, when I'm in
Yeah.
Southampton, sometimes I just get really caught up in it, and you have that crowd battle, and then you go, but if we just let this breathe a bit more. And I thought the Lyon crowd were bang on, well good with that. Like there was no unnecessary chanting. Like so when they knew when was the appropriate time to chant and cheer, boo, scream, all
Yeah.
of that sort of stuff. And when it wasn't, they brought it back down, but they didn't stop. They just kept it bubbling
No,
away, and then like it was a proper peak.
felt like there was a constant hum of noise, didn't there? And
Yeah,
then it would build
exactly.
from that.
Yeah, I thought they were wicked, mate. They were
I
so
had
good.
I watched it. It was the first foreign show on Rev Pro on Demand that I've watched where I was watching it thinking, God, I wish I was there.
Hmm.
Like the GWF shows are nice and it's like cool. Like I watch them at home and then I get the rest of the day to myself. That's quite a novelty because normally it's like 2-3 hours in the car to get to
Of
Rev
course.
Pro. But yesterday I was like, oh, I wish I'd flown out for this, especially when I stupidly realised that the whole reason we didn't go was because I'd have work the next day and I'd misjudged when half term was,
Hmm.
because half term's really late this year. We've had 8 weeks at school and then a week off, and it's normally 7 weeks and a week off. So I thought half term was last week
Yeah.
when they announced the show, which I should have just checked. Can't believe I didn't. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was an absolute triumph.
Yeah.
And that main event, mate, just another. I mean, I'll be completely fair and objective. I think Ultimo Guerrero versus Sha Samuels was a bit of an under delivery at
Okay.
FantasticaMania. I think that it had another 5 minutes in it, and I think they misjudged the type of match it should have been. I felt like a sprawling brawl around the hangar,
Hmm.
somewhat similar to what they did yesterday, but without the heat. Just not because they hate each other, but just because you know like how like the Attitude Era matches, they always ended up going outside the
Yeah.
ring, regardless if it was Austin and Triple H who hated each other, or if it was just you know Austin and Jericho who didn't hate each other but wanted to get the win, so they'd fight here, there, and everywhere. It felt like that's what the Guerrero and Sha Samuels match was kind of screaming out for. That match aside, I feel like that since Sha's been the champion, that's the one match where you could look at it and be like, that weren't particularly memorable. But Shah versus Ricky was my match of the year in terms of how emotional I felt about the whole thing, how they built the story, how I felt during the match, how I felt when the match finished. Some people would say that's not match of the year, that's moment of the year. But in my eyes, it's one and the same thing.
It can be both.
Yeah.
A moment doesn't
Um,
have to be something. A moment can be a match. A match can be a moment.
yeah, exactly. Um, the Luke Jacobs versus Shah match in Stevenage, if that had been with a Lyon crowd, that would have been talked about way more than it was, because that was a really, really strong match. It's just Stevenage is that weird. It's a weird crowd. It's a weird crowd
Yeah.
because they can be loud for stuff that doesn't necessarily deserve it, and quiet for stuff that definitely doesn't deserve a quiet crowd. The Shah and Oku match had so much going on in it. Like there was so much story happening, and the action was really, really strong. And then last night was the best match of the 3 title defenses so far. Um,
Mm.
I'm so impressed with it, and like we literally called that, right? We said that Shah would win by using the ropes. It was the right thing to do because he said he'd win by any means necessary.
Mhm.
They couldn't change the title in Lyon. People would kick off about that. You know, the loyal Rev Pro fans not getting to see the title change would have been controversial. But Lyon got a massive title match. We got a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
Jay's now had a setback and he's had some injustice. And now we've got a legitimate reason to boo Sha when we go to Cardiff and it's Jay versus Sha 2.
Yeah.
And Jay's the hometown face and Sha's the Cena in
Yeah. Cena in ECW. Yeah.
That's it. Cena in the ECW arena. Because, Sha cheated to win.
Yeah, he did.
But he cheated to win because everything else failed. And again, I can be seen as a hypocrite at times because I say things like they did too many false finishes. It went on too long. None of that applied to yesterday's.
No,
because
I felt,
Sha doesn't have. There's a big difference for me. Let's briefly. I'll compare Leon Cage versus Luke Jacobs and Sha versus Jay Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Jacobs needed to hit all of his big finishing moves, which include a variation of the hidden blade, a knockout shot. It includes his screwdriver, which is one of the most devastating moves in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Should finish any match that it's applied to, in my opinion. He hit 2 of them before he beat Leon Cage. Leon Cage, who is half of Luke Jacobs' size and coming back from an injury.
Mm-hmm.
For me, as much as I enjoyed that match, I felt like it was a good match, or a very good match. I just don't think it was a great match because of that reason. With Sha versus Jay, what did Sha hit? A spine buster.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly like the most devastating move in wrestling. The Sha Salt,
Mm-hmm.
which is effectively a moonsault, which doesn't finish many matches, and not the best moonsault in the world either. And the East End Destroyer, which doesn't finish any match anymore. And again, it's not like it's Penta's Destroyer, where he kind of hits it with a load of momentum. And yet there was an Avalanche Destroyer in there, but let's also forget that it was on Jay Joshua, who is a monster.
Yeah.
I think Jay was pitched yesterday. I described it in the takeaways as halfway between Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And therefore, that number of moves is warranted.
I would
It's
agree.
no disrespect to anyone, but it's not like Sha was doing that to Will Caven.
No, I think
he was doing it to Jay.
There was 2 things here. There was that, right? Jay is the kaiju of Rev Pro, right? He's the big monster. He's your Bronson Reed, right? He's your guy that, even though he's shorter than a lot of guys, he's very big and bulky in stature, right? In the same way that Ishii feels like he's 10 foot taller than he is, because he's got that stocky build. Jay has the same thing. So he feels like this monster you've got to overcome. Not only did I think they were trying to do that, but they were also trying to tell a story of how maybe Sha, with a couple of these moves, would have put someone away. And they were very heavy with that on commentary, that Sha is not the young guy that he was.
On that note, mate, don't want to interrupt you, but Dave Bradshaw did such a good job on commentary for this match.
Oh, yeah, he really did. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Phenomenal. That guy needs more of a shout out than he does, than he gets, sorry. But yeah, so it was kind of like they were telling that. And to me, the story wasn't about false finishes, right? Because are the false finishes there because it's an indie thing to do to get the pop out of the crowd, or are the false finishes there to actually tell the story? In this case, I felt they did tell the story. This was the story of Sha, just no matter what he was doing, he was busting out all the big guns. Like every one of these moves, his biggest guns could not put Jay away. What could put Jay away? The feet on the ropes. That's 100%. That's what it relied upon.
And then you've got the additional story of, go back to David Francisco and Sha Samuels. That whole feud started because Francisco put his feet on the ropes to beat Sha.
Yeah.
Go back to Sha versus Oku in Portchester Hall last month. Oku had the chance to use the ropes and he didn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
Oku's not the champion now, but Sha is. And Sha is not a white meat babyface.
No.
He is a veteran heel who has become a babyface because he's likable and lovable.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
mate, I just think that is, for me, that's the storytelling at its best. The psychology was spot on, and now coming out of it, I want Jay Joshua to beat Sha Samuels I want Jay Joshua to beat Sha Samuels in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Not just all the big Jay fans do. I love Jay as much as anyone does. But in the story, as a fan, I should want Sha to win. But I don't, because Sha cheated. So I want Jay to win.
Yeah.
Because Jay's never really been that bad a heel. He's just a badass.
Well, I was going to ask you that question because this is a conversation I was having with Marty yesterday, right? So we were talking about it, and he was saying about whether Jay would win, and I just said, so I said from a crowd moment perspective, so get everyone getting that moment to react. I've said this before that I think that this is as big as a Steve Austin winning the title moment they can have. I see Jay very much as he's a tweener. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just someone that reacts. And so when I said
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, Marty came back to me and said, I really don't agree with that at all. And he said, I think that he's a heel. Whereas I've never seen him like that. I see him, and I'm just interested how you see him. And I think we're on the same.
He doesn't hide from who he is. He doesn't pretend to be one thing and be another thing.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do dirty cheating. What has he done to be a heel is he's forced Andy Quildan's hand by putting his hands on Sha Samuels.
Yeah.
That's not babyface behaviour. But I don't feel like that's the sort of thing where he can't win the championship and everybody cheer him for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ultimately, you've got to think about the way I look at it. You've got to think about what you want after the moment. So all those people that in Southampton were saying do you think JJ Gow's going to turn heel? No, I don't, because although that would be a cool subversion of expectations and it would be a cool moment, after this story, what do you want? JJ Gow as a heel or JJ Gow as a face? What's there more storylines to play with JJ Gow? Where is there more opportunity to grow him as a wrestler? It's growing him as the future face of the company. So no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You mentioned on Twitter the other day about you think Nino Bryant's going to turn.
Yeah, I still do.
And my thought is, but once we've turned that, do we want Nino and the Flying Bryants as a heel trio, or do we want them as a babyface trio? So I don't think they will, because I think there's more legs in them being the babyface trio for now, at least. I wonder if down the road we could do not necessarily a double turn, but a simultaneous turn, where at the same time as the Bryants are turning heel, True and Lacey are turning face.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So then the Bryants could take on the True and Lacey role, and True and Lacey could take on the Bryants role in terms of a team who can lose and not be damaged by it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking yesterday, just off a complete tangent. I was like, what if the Bryants end up becoming part of the Slater dojo, and that then leads down the line to Cameron coming away from the dojo and getting to stand on his own 2 feet, and almost using Liam like a giving, because we've seen the wonders it's had with Cameron, right? Just even spending a bit of time with him. Can we do that with the other guys? Anyway, not to go too much.
Cameron literally went from feeling a bit lost, and I'm not really sure what we're going to do with him, to his match in Southampton against Nino and his attack on Nino in Portchester Hall being probably the best Cameron Klein moments I've seen for at least 12 months.
Yeah, I would agree. Question I had for you What did you make of the finish of Lyon versus Kuro?
So I genuinely can't tell if that was a botched finish or if that was the planned finish. Because
Mm,
the match felt like it was ready to finish. It's
yeah,
not like the ref did it at completely the wrong time. It protected Kuro from a loss in front of his hometown crowd, whilst also giving Leon Cage the win. Because if Leon loses to Kuro, what does that mean for Leon versus Nino Bryant, presumably at Uprising? It gives
yeah,
us a reason to run the match back again in England, and it just kind of made a bit of a prat of the referee, who generally had been a bit of a laughing stock of the show anyway,
hmm
from having like the entrance that, whether that was planned or not, it kind of felt like that was
yeah.
organic. But Andy especially was
Mm.
kind of negging him on commentary, making a bit of a joke of it,
He
and it just,
was, wasn't he?
I don't know if it was, it felt like a lot of happy coincidences, and it might just be that they've made some lemonade out of lemons. But the number one thing for me is, don't care if it was a botch or not. I still think the match was really good, and everyone should go out their way to watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. And what I do want to kind of call out from it is because I'm still leaning to the made lemonade out of lemons theory there. But I'm like you, I'm kind of like, but was it? I'm not sure. What I will say is what I liked was Leon, if it was that, certainly looked like he was making the moment of like a veteran would do, and kind of taking charge of the situation. So he was calling for the microphone a few times. You could see that he was clearly like trying to get something to give the crowd a bit of a moment to cheer for Kuro as well. So again, whether that was something that was planned and he was told to do that, or whether he just used his experience that he's already got, the lad, it wouldn't surprise me because the lad is ahead of the game so much. Like coming out and getting booed by the crowd, even if you were expecting it as a young baby face, I imagine if you're not built for it, that could knock you, and you'd be like, "Oh God, what's going on here?" He took it all in his stride. He didn't deviate from his character too much.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bit of fun
Mm-hmm.
with the crowd in that sense, but he still felt like Leon
Yep.
Cage. Like the lad, I've said it plenty of times. He is an absolute prodigy, and again, what everything he did yesterday was great. Yeah,
It was a
I, I
very
I really
mature
enjoyed this show,
performance, I
mate. I
thought.
thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was mature is the right way of saying it, mate, and especially didn't feel like the third match from someone coming back from a major injury. Like the lad is just
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
got it.
yeah.
He's absolutely got it. I love the involvement with Oku finishing the match against Alan Angels
Yeah.
and Kuro. That was great. The reveal of the ref top. I love that we got. I mean, I know it's probably more of an homage to Stone Cold, but it felt very Amira-esque. We just went like that down at Alan Angels. That felt like Amira was there in spirit, if nothing else. And just him and Kuro standing there, like that just
Yeah.
felt cool, didn't it?
Mate, if you watched yesterday's show and you hadn't seen Kuro before, or you watched yesterday's show and you had any reservations about him, if you're not coming away from it thinking that guy has got it,
Yeah,
then I'm not sure if you and I agree on professional wrestling.
yeah,
Um, he
yeah.
needs to be on as many Rev Pro shows as possible.
He feels
Like,
like he'll get adopted by the crowd in the same way Zazaya was, the same way that Manders has been. He feels like he's going to be at that level if he can become
I've said it. I've said it before. Any of these European talents that we get to see in Rev Pro are going to be compared to Zazaya, whether
it.
it's fair or not. It's a natural thing to do.
Hmm.
He's the only one so far from all the Barcelona shows, the German shows, and yesterday's show. He's the one that looks like he could survive that comparison.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, 100%. So, Dave, we mentioned that there's what I think 5 shows between now and Uprising. That's including Uprising.
Yeah. So four. We've got London, Sheffield, Coventry,
True.
London, Uprising, Seasons
Southampton.
beatings in
Yeah.
Southampton, which I think will just be a nice little fun way to finish the year.
Yeah, the epilogue to the year. Not expecting anything major to be announced there. What are you thinking? So we've got some matches announced. We've got for London. We know that we've got the Good Brothers versus Lycos Gym. We know we've got
I'm
Young
very,
Guns
very
versus.
interested in, because last time we saw Lycos Gym, we
Mm,
had the Liam Slater stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it very, very much feels like we're doing that old school booking thing of having storylines running in particular towns.
yes, yeah,
That's a London storyline.
hmm
Like Harry Milligan and Liam Slater is a Sheffield storyline.
yeah,
I find it very interesting that the Trent Seven Sunshine Machine storyline is being finished in Coventry, which
yeah,
is where it started.
hmm
Um, so yeah, it's mate. I'm well up for this run of shows. We've got 4 announced already for next Sunday. So we've got Alan Angels versus Jay Joshua.
Oh, I didn't see
We've
that one.
we've got the match you just talked about,
hmm
Lycos Jim versus Good Brothers. Fingers crossed and touch wood that Michael Oku is fit for Sunday, and we have Oku and Shaw versus Young Guns for the tag titles in the main event. And then the absolute sleeper hit of Nina Samuels versus Sapphire Reed for the leadership of the Cutthroat
Mm,
Collective.
yeah,
That's a quality card already. Then the following week in Sheffield, we've got Alan Angels back. We've got Manders back. We've got the cashing in of the Great British Tag League title shot.
hmm
So whoever wins next week in London against Mills and Joshua. So that already looks tasty.
yeah,
Like it looks essential. It looks like the sort of show that if that some fans would look at it and be like, can I be bothered to drive all the way to Coventry, drive all the way to Sheffield, or get the train up to Sheffield? But would look at it and be like, oh, I want to. If there's a chance that Jay and Mills win the titles there, I want to see
yeah,
it. Then in Coventry, we've got like that beautiful match between Yamashita and Kanji already announced, and we've got the Machine and Haskins and Trent Seven. Like, there's so much cool stuff happening.
yeah. There really is. I mean, look, Kanji and Yamashita is enough to like get me seriously tempted to drive to Coventry. Like I said it before we came on here, I'm just looking up actually to see how long the drive would be. I think it might be a bit too far to do, but that's tempted me, and look, that is just one match that's grabbed me. Right, the tag match I think will be fun, but for me that story, and through no fault of anyone's, I'll add, that story has just gone on that little bit too long, where I've kind of just it's ran out of juice for me a little bit. But that's because real life has happened, so it's one of those things. It is what it is, and it's gonna happen from time to time. But yeah, that one match alone, if I was closer to Sheffield, that Great British Tag League match, that would be fucking fantastic because we know that well, I say their match. I'm always talking as if it's a foregone conclusion of who's even going to win, who's going to walk in as champions. Because I
You
mean, that's the question I've
thinking?
got for you. What do you think happens there?
Yeah, I was going to say, you thinking the same as me that Young Guns win both matches,
Yeah.
and then we get Young Guns and Good Brothers in Wales. We get Jay and Shaw in Wales. We've got Oku and Mills in Wales.
Mm.
Feels like the best use of all of those people.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
Um, and then like there are so many other like storylines that, and this is the thing, right? Not everything needs to be wrapped up in a bow by Uprising.
No,
Like there are stories that can roll into 2026. We know JJ Gow's
100%.
going out to Japan, so the JJ Gow and David Francisco stuff's not going to be wrapped up by Uprising. That's going to continue into next year. But like stuff that I'm just interested in right now, everything that's going on with the Cutthroat Collective. You know, Alex Windsor as the CTC kind of like trying to break them down one by one. The Sapphire and Sapphire and Nina stuff that is, you know, leadership stuff I'm really interested in.
hmm
Everything with Liam Slater. the Lycos gym stuff really kind of threw me off at the last one and has had me intrigued ever since. We've got just like a really good array of stuff. You've got, Lyon and Nino I'm really good to keen to see that again. And the idea that we've gone from the fight for the future to a title match.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that it's coincided with Ridgeway coming back, because then you're like, he's like just lurking in the sidelines, and obviously he was getting the big push before. CPF have got one more trophy. What's going to happen with that? There seems to be stuff being teased with CPF, a bit of just some negativity around them.
Yeah, it does.
With whether that's kind of them repeatedly losing, frustration with Nino Bryant's involvement, even little things like Joe Lando saying he dropped the ball when he lost to Nino, and Danny Black not turning around and defending him, but being like, "Yeah, you did."
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's lots of little details to be picking up on and enjoying, and that's literally what I live for. So
yeah, it's definitely an interesting time coming. I'm looking forward to seeing after next weekend. You know what we might do? Well, is the schedule like one show every week now until?
there's a couple of weeks off. Andy very graciously gave us my wife's birthday weekend off.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quilden. So yeah, we've got the 2nd of November and the 9th of November, but then the 16th is off. Then you got the 23rd in Coventry, but the 30th is off.
Yeah. Okay.
Then it's back-to-back weekends with Portchester Hall and Uprising, and then Christmas is off.
So what we've got London, then Sheffield, and then, or is it London? Yeah, London, Sheffield, then a break.
London, Sheffield, week off. Coventry, week off. London, Cardiff, week off. Christmas, Southampton, 2026.
Yeah. So maybe then what we can do, that episode will come out in the week off. That feels like a good, like, because we'll have had another 2 shows then. Maybe what we can do is we can maybe do some kind of predictions, as in what else we think could fill out the card at Uprising. Maybe that might be a good
I
one.
think by then, mate, we're going to have quite a clear idea, because we already know we've got Mills and Oku, and it's. I think by then it's going to be established we've got Jay and Sha too.
Mm-hmm.
Manders is in town, so we know Manders is going to be in action. AEW are in town, so you've got to believe Mercedes is going to be wrestling Rio. Like, that feels like all things are pointing in that direction. You're going to have the Good Brothers and Young Guns has got to happen, or I mean, providing we're eating breadcrumbs and not dust, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's which storylines, which mid-card storylines are worth putting on that show, and which ones are worth continuing on that show.
Yeah.
Because if you pay everything off, you're probably going to have 8 singles matches. Or, do you know what I mean? Like the tag team title match and 8 singles matches.
Yeah.
In which case, that's a pretty small selection of wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
But if you decide, do you know what, we're going to envelope the Slater Dojo storyline with the stuff that's going on with, let's say, Leon Cage and Nino Bryant and CPF. And then you could be like, okay, well, we're going to do like a 6-man, a trio, or an 8-man, or a triple threat or 4-way or something like that, where you're looking at how can we get as many people on the card as possible.
Yeah.
I think Rev Pro do a pretty decent job of that.
Yeah.
They don't put on stuff for the sake of it, but they do try to make sure that the people who have really earned their spot get a little moment in the sun. But the thing that I'm most pleased about right now is I feel like the gap between a big show and a small show is getting smaller and smaller every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Coventry show with the street fight and Yamashita already feels big, like bigger than a normal Coventry show. The Sheffield show getting a title match I don't remember a title match in Sheffield that main evented,
No.
and that will main event, won't it?
Yeah, of
Like
course
that
it
will
will.
be
Yeah.
the feature show. I remember Kushida and Jordan Breaks having a cruiserweight title match there last year, but it weren't in the main event, and it wasn't the star attraction. It was just a nice little bit of extra cherry on cake.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, didn't we? Making Portchester Hall feel bigger and bigger and bigger to take the pressure off of the York Hall shows.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going into 2026 in a much better position than we went into 2025.
Yeah, I do as well, and it really does feel like that taking that level step up has been there, in terms of what we're getting and what we're getting in various places. Yeah, I think it's yeah, I'm interested to see how we go into 2026. Last year, when we coming out of 2024 into 2025, and even a month along from where we are now, there was absolutely no inkling that we would be casually going, yeah, Mercedes will be having a title defense. Like that would
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like how casually we're throwing that around now. Um, Yesterday, when the show started and the video started, and the first person on the screen is Mercedes, like, oh yeah, Mercedes is champion. And it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doesn't feel odd, does
And
it?
it's funny because I know that like I don't spend as much time online as you do, so you can attest to this better than I can. But there are pockets of fans that aren't tremendously pleased with the Rev Pro booking at the moment, or the directions things are going in, and that's one thing you can look at. So you've got one group of people that aren't enjoying it as much as they did last year. On the other hand, Portchester Hall was the biggest London show they've run so far outside of York Hall, Crystal Palace, Copperbox. Sheffield shows seem to be getting like this year. The attendance for Sheffield shows is significantly more consistent and bigger than they were last year.
Hmm.
Same in Southampton. Do you remember Southampton used to have the odd show which would just be like 2/3 full? So you know, like sometimes like the Easter show
Yeah,
would be like, oh, it's not as busy this time. We haven't had a show like that this year. All the Southampton shows have been pretty
they've
similar.
been rammed. Yeah,
Um, Coventry is growing, both in terms of the number of people there and the engagement and the volume. Every show at the Hangar's been a success, so that's now like that's gonna be a regular haunt for next year.
yeah.
Doncaster Dome will be back. Like I strongly believe that Uprising would have been at the Dome this year because they said there'd be
So
one
do
later
I,
on
mate.
in the
Yeah,
year if it weren't for AEW. Um, and you know, like there are lots of positive metrics. So
yeah,
while sometimes you'll see like, oh, fans don't seem to be very happy with Rev Pro on when you look at fans online, there's a lot of fans that aren't online, and there's a lot of fans that don't say their opinion, that don't have a platform. Um, so when you look at those metrics as well, like attendances are good at the moment. Um,
yeah.
there's been investment in production, like like buying equipment, separate brand new equipment to fly out to other countries.
Hmm.
That I don't know Rev Pro on demand subscription numbers. I'm not privy to that, but I know that the better subscription numbers there are, the more money Andy spends on it.
Hmm.
So the fact that they've just invested in that suggests that the numbers are good. There are more, like what I am privy to is things like Instagram questions, and I get way more about Rev Pro on demand than we ever used to get, which suggests that there are lots of new people using that service.
Yeah,
Um, so there's whilst there are some metrics that show Rev Pro is not booming at the moment, because there are some fans that are not enamored with the heavyweight championship reign. There are some fans that are not enamored with the women's championship reign. Um, there are there are not there are some fans that aren't enamored with the pacing of storylines because they're doing more and more storylines than ever, so they are more drawn out than ever.
hmm,
Um, there are also loads and loads of positive metrics. So thinking objectively rather than me like being the shill that I am, um, like, I think that 2026 looks more promising than 2025 did.
Hmm. Agree.
2025 is going to end stronger than 2025 did, 2024 did. And that's not because 2024 was poor, because I think 2024 was a growth on 2023.
Yeah.
23 was a growth on 22. And although I wasn't at live shows before 2022, just looking at cards that were put on and shows that were run, if you look at RevPro, if you look at all wrestling companies outside of AEW and WWE who ran through the pandemic,
Hmm.
if you look at all independent wrestling companies as starting at the start of the pandemic, I feel like the year on year growth is really, really promising.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. So look, yeah, I think I'm probably tapped into the wider fan base more than you are in terms of people who don't just consume Road Pro but British wrestling as a whole. And I would say that you're right. There are people that will say, look, this hasn't grabbed me as much this year. And look, I'll be honest. At times, the booking, probably in the first half of the year, I found at times didn't grab me as much as it did during 2024. Okay. Um, but one of the things that has been very clear is over that time of 2024 coming into 2025 is that there has been a growth on number of shows. And we're currently looking at, I think last year had 42 shows, okay? And you've got things that were put in there like some Sizzler, because that was to react to something. I don't recall a show being added this year to react to something. So let's take that one out, right, as one that wasn't planned, but that was clearly a reaction to MJF being available. That puts you on 41. By the time we end this year, I think it'll be 44, 45 shows, give or take, that will have finished
And
this year on.
bearing in mind this year started in February,
Yes, exactly. So,
because
and
the
I'm
entire
yeah,
month of January was taken off.
yeah, I'm looking when you're comparing, right? So we had one in January last year, four shows in February. We had one fewer show in March this year, but April we had the same. May we had the same. One fewer show in June, double the shows in July, an extra show in August, an extra show in September, two extra shows in October. November, I think, is
Yeah,
going to be around the same. December is going to be the one that's going to be a little bit down on where we were last year, but that's because of when big events are and other stuff going
yeah.
on because things have been moved around.
And
So yeah,
it's not just about quantity, is it? It's about quality.
and that's kind of my next thing is that you can kind of look at it in a few ways, right? So you've got the people who will want to enjoy a product um, that's told in a certain way on certain shows. You've got people who enjoy a variety of different products. So the comparison that I see thrown around a lot is Riot Cabaret and RevPro. Okay, and we were talking about this before we came on of what the difference, kind of what you can get in one place, what you can get in another, and some people will be happy that they know in somewhere like that they might get a Mills, Jay Joshua, Nico Angelo that they know is going to be a fantastic match. So that is like cool. So they'll go there and they'll watch that. You'll get the people who will look at yesterday's progress card. I'm not one of these people. I look at, I'm like, it doesn't look the greatest to me. But people will look at it and go, this is great value for money for me. And so you've got those ones. One of the things I do want
Don't
to
see
point
them
out,
as I don't see them as similar products though.
no, but that's what I'm saying. They're not necessarily similar products, but what they know that they will know that that match might be closer to a Rev Pro style
Yeah.
match. So for instance, I
The,
think
the
like
the reason I don't think they're similar products is because you're talking about a business model, one business model that runs 12 events a year
that's where I
and
was just getting on to. Yeah,
takes
so
4 weeks to promote one show, and a business model that runs 45 events a year
but I think the
that
thing,
has to build 3, 4, 5 events at a time. Like right now, like if you take at the time I wrote my preview for Lyon,
mhm,
which would have been I don't know, like Friday night, on the Instagram channel, I'm trying to balance the promotion of Rev Pro in Lyon, Portchester Hall, the Sheffield show, the Coventry show, and Uprising, and next year's anniversary show in terms of like at least just making it the pinned post on Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's 5 shows that are being advertised because tickets are on sale right now, and matches are announced for.
Yeah.
I think that, and that's not to take away from any of the other companies, because like their model works for them, and this model works for Rev Pro. But I think really the only company that I can think of, and you might have you might be able to think of other examples, but the only company that we can really compare Rev Pro to would be in this country. And this even feels a little bit silly to say, but you're better off comparing it to WrestleForce
Hmm.
or LDN Wrestling or someone like that than you are comparing them to Progress and Riot Cabaret and Pro Wrestling Eve,
Yeah.
because it's like comparing Line of Duty with EastEnders.
Yeah.
Like
I see what
one
you're
is
saying. Yeah.
a weekly product, and one is they come in, they do a series of events. In
And
terms of bigger sized companies, you could compare RevPro and WXW.
yeah, I think the other
Like
thing,
they
yeah,
run a similar schedule, but
yeah, the other, so there's two ways I look at that, mate, right? So you've got the creative, how aligned are they creatively, and how aligned are they in terms of business? So I'd say that RevPro and Progress, RevPro and Eve are more aligned creatively than they are in business. So you're right there, right? That you've got that. You've also got a lot of fans who will go because they want the live experience. So
mhm.
I would hazard a lot of people that are going are and who are going right. Where can I get the best value for my money in terms of the matches that appeal to me? And if I lived in London, I can't say I'd necessarily go all the time to every Rev Pro show, because I'd maybe go, well, actually, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. And like
That's
I
where
said,
Riot Cabaret is seen as, in my eyes, from the outside looking in. What people tell me about Riot Cabaret is it just being such a fun event to go to,
yeah,
as a bit of a, and the same with Pro Wrestling Eve, as a bit of a variety show.
yeah,
Little bit of
100%.
everything.
Yeah,
Get some comedy stuff in there. Get some serious stuff in there. You can have a strong style match, and then you can have a match. Like Riot Cabaret do the body slam with the Greedy Souls and Sunshine Machine, which
oh,
is like
I don't know what it is, but I've heard of it. Yeah, I don't know
and
exactly
then
what it is, but yeah,
Pro Wrestling Eve have their multiverse, like
yeah.
that. Very, very, very different.
And stuff that creatively wouldn't work in Rev Pro as well. Like that just
And
wouldn't work in Rev Pro.
I can look at a progress card, and I can completely understand why people would get really excited for a progress card, because you've got like a TLC main event. Like
Yeah.
that's, you know, how many people, when AEW announced that clusterfuck main event for their show at the O2, I don't remember if it main evented or not, but how many people were like, that's it, I'm going now.
Hmm.
Like I was a bit unsure whether I thought it was going to be worth it or not. But now they've announced that, I can't wait. And it's like, and then other people will be like, well, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Like
I
I completely get it. I
yeah.
completely get it.
I think the other thing as well is that because there's so much out there, people can be choosy, right? So, and this is the great thing about the British wrestling scene, right? That people can afford to be so choosy. And people 5 years ago now have things where they go, 5 years ago they went, that is getting me a ticket. I am there, I'm through the door for that. Now isn't enough. It's not enough in 2025. And that's a great place for the scene to be, because we're now seeing RevPro push that bit further. They are taking, again, go, right, we've got to grow sustainably, which for us as fans is a great place to be. The other thing as well with a lot of the companies, and this is where I think sometimes people can, I think, unfavorably, you're looking at RevPro in two ways. You can look at it from a creative standpoint, and you can look at it from what you feel that you get the most value as a consumer. Where places like Progress and Riot Cab and Eve do benefit is by running that monthly model. So they can go, hey, look, this month you're not going to have any shows in between now and then. So you've only got this one show that you need to watch to stay up together with what's going on, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
you don't have to watch what is going on in Sheffield, what is going on in Coventry, what is going on in London before you get to the next London show and then Uprising, right? So you've got, and that's a commitment in itself. So you
100%.
and what then?
And there there will be fans who will take my argument that you can't really compare Rev Pro to these companies because they have a different schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be fans who would argue that, well, therefore Rev Pro would benefit from having a smaller schedule.
And I would disagree with
In the
that
way
completely.
that there will be some people that might say EastEnders would be better if it was on once a week rather than however many nights a week it is on.
Yeah, and
But that's the model that they have.
Here's why I disagree with that as well about reducing Rev Pro schedule, because I wouldn't. I think it works for some companies to have a less frequent schedule and have those big banger cards. That's an area I think Eve have excelled in this year. Like they've been able to get those big couple of banger matches in there. Then they've had their people that come in and they've gradually managed to kind of get over and over and over. Lucy Sky is the one for me. Like I want her everywhere. She's fantastic.
Is she the woman wrestling Willow Nightingale?
She is, yeah. And I've picked up on it the last few shows that I've watched. She is the opening match every show. But not only is she the opening match, she's the first person out the curtain every single
Robbie
time.
X spot.
Yeah, but she's
that was
yeah.
Robbie X in 2022.
And quite literally, like she sets the tone straight away, both in ring and with how she wants everything to be perceived. But if you did that every week, it could be good. But do you have the talent to keep up with it? And look, here's the other thing I can say is that sometimes it does mean that Rev Pro don't always put the top name level of talent out there, because you can't have Michael Oku every single show. You can't have Luke Jacobs every single show. You can't have Ethan Allen every single show. Sometimes there's got to be.
I don't want them, mate, as well.
But that's it.
Thing that's key. As someone who does go to every show, I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, oh, this is the fourth time this month I'm watching a Conor Mills match. Like, I want there to be a little bit of variety.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, as well, is you are right, and the online fan base are right. We're all right.
Yeah, we're all right. We're just different.
We've got loads of great stuff out there that we could choose to go and spend our time and money on. And if it means that less people watch Rev Pro because they're more tapped into another product, I've often said this about, right, I would much prefer that we all like ice cream than arguing over who likes what flavor. Like, it's so fucking cool that these people can go out there, they can earn a wage doing what they're doing and make a career out of it much better than they could 10 years ago in this country.
Yeah.
There's more upward mobility.
Let's remind ourselves that actually very few of these guys are making a career out of it. They're still working. They're still got a 9 to 5 job, but the potential to make a career out of it is greater now than it was 20 years ago.
I'm going to finish it off here, right? Zazaya, who 2 years ago we didn't know, is now in WWE.
Yeah,
Mike D,
exactly.
Mike D, who is I've seen in Progress, I've seen in Rev Pro, Stalwart, and Europe, is in WWE. Igor Blanc, who is one of the big names on the European Indies, who is, again, Progress, Rev Pro. These men that I'm naming, these first three men, are all at the 1865, which is fucking mad when you consider they are now in WWE. And the one that...
But even then, you kind of have to caveat it. They haven't yet, mate. There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee
we're ever going to see them on WWE television.
Nope,
there's no guarantee that they're still going to be with WWE in 6 months' time.
There's not.
There's no guarantee. Like, there's still. Did you watch Dragon's Den this week with Darius?
No, I didn't.
And
no.
Really fascinating, and it really does put everything about British wrestling into perspective, because there's no potential to invest in North Wrestling. I don't think it was ever designed to get money for North Wrestling. I think it was a very clever bit of promotion for them.
Of course, yeah.
But ultimately, there is only one thing, in my eyes, that is going to change any of these people's lives, and that is a national television deal for a British wrestling company.
Yeah.
And if you were to look at that, which British wrestling company is closest to being able to get one of those, it would be the company that runs weekly shows.
Yeah.
But even then, was the last time there was a national wrestling television contract
Yeah.
that was successful.
Yeah. You're
So
you're right. But it's so cool that there is that, even like you said, even without all of those guarantees. Do you want me to tell you what the one guarantee that they do have currently? Guaranteed money, guaranteed mentorship,
yeah,
guaranteed working with some of the best minds. Whatever you think about them in terms of the product of the company, some of the best minds that ever went through the business. Nathan Angel, who I
and there are
mentioned at the start,
yeah,
has been wrestling since 2022. I'm
yep,
looking at all of the companies he's at now. He is the biggest company I think that I can see that he has ever performed for is TNT. Okay,
yep,
he performs at You spoke about the venue in Lyon, right? Being really close to the ring. I think I sent pictures to you before that I can't even stretch my legs out from the
yeah.
front row, the front of two rows, because of how close that is. They're doing a fucking Rumble match later this year, and they're going, we don't know how this is. They even says we don't know how this is going to happen because we don't know where all these wrestlers are even going to go. Right? That is, but that just shows you the level of what we're like. His mum,
Yeah,
his mum got involved in an in-ring segment. She was half cut, like she seems to be at most shows that I was there. She was half cut. She got in. She gave a punch. It was all a bit pantomime in the best way. Um,
yeah,
that lad is now on WWE or going to be in
yeah.
NXT potentially. So
And he'll be able to, he'll have the experiences forever, because something that we also have to remember is there will be lots of people that we watch regularly in wrestling who don't actually have the ambition to go all the way, who don't have the ambition to go and live in America, or don't have the ambition to be WrestleMania headliners.
mhm,
There will be wrestlers on wrestling shows that people pay to go and watch who just really enjoy the release and the fun and the hobby of doing some, you know, weekly wrestling to subsidize their real life and
yeah,
their real job, for whom getting to go and wrestle in another country, or getting to see this country, or getting to work with, you know, a name that they've watched on television before is as high as their wrestling career will go.
yeah,
And that's absolutely okay and cool, isn't it? Because you see it when
100%.
you when places like Portsmouth School of Wrestling, London School of Wrestling, like obviously the two Rev Pro wrestling schools, but you know, Square One isn't far from me where I live, which is Tate Mayfair's and Spike Trevay's wrestling school. New Wave and all these schools, Cobra Wrestling with Sky Smithson, when they're looking to bring in new trainee wrestlers, they're not promising them anything. But what they're saying is, do you want to come and learn because you want a career in wrestling? Do you want
Hmm.
to come and have a go because it's good fun? Do you want to come and just, you know, whether you're looking for a weekend hobby or whether you're looking to change your life and become a full-time professional wrestler,
Yeah.
this is how you can get into wrestling.
Hmm.
Goes to show that when it's advertised like that, that it's not all about making it to
And that's
the Tokyo Dome or Madison Square Garden or somewhere like that. But
there's a
it,
variety of people, variety of reasons why people might get involved in wrestling, right?
and there's a variety of reasons why people can go and enjoy different products available around the country.
Exactly. And look, that's it, right? Like we've given their all the different reasons why someone might love Rev Pro in 2025. The reasons why people might not be as intrigued by Rev Pro in 2025. Why they might link up with other companies more in 2025. And that's fucking cool that we've got all of that available. Like, I love that we have so much that available in this country. That we've got people who can do anything from head or not even headlines. I want to have one of the signature matches against Zack Sabre Jr. on the biggest show for the biggest independent company in the UK, to one who his final match I saw at a fucking theatre around the corner from me a month or so ago against Joel Redmond in a British rules match, this tiny arena, can go abroad and achieve like with the biggest company get signed and potentially be at the start of something massive. I would love, like you said, to see a company, i.e. RevPro, get a weekly televised product. I would love to see that, and that's the growth that I think we can continue to see in wrestling in this country. And look, again, let's all celebrate the fact we all love ice cream, no matter the flavour.
They're here.
Right, mate, that was fun.
Enjoyed that, mate. Yeah.
Right,
Little bit of
well,
that something for everybody.
bit of something for everyone, a little bit of a buffet. Right, until next week, my friend. I'll catch you later.
See you later, bro.